On this episode of the Star Trek Universe podcast, we are talking all about Star Trek Lower Decks 203, We'll Always Have Tom Paris, right after this quick, uncontrolled mystery ad from our corporate overlords.
Welcome to the Star Trek Universe podcast, the podcast where two lifelong friends continue their ongoing Star Trek conversation they've been having since they were 6 years old, but now you get to listen in. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
How you doing, buddy?
Man, I don't know.
Yeah?
I tell you what, I'm really excited about John Noble and Jimmy Simpson being announced as the villains for Star Trek Prodigy.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. Those are two big names. For those who don't know, Johnny, what are the names? Say, go ahead. Tell us where we find these people. I was wondering, Johnny Noble? Is that how you say his name?
John Noble.
Yeah, I'm like Johnny and Jimmy, John Noble and Noble and Simpson.
For sci-fi fans, he was Walter on Fringe. Jimmy Simpson, I know from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He was also on House of Cards. He's very prolific. Really good voice actors too.
Cool.
So I'm excited to see what they do, as far as villainy.
They're big names, and that just lends itself to them putting budget and putting a lot behind the series, which is cool. So yeah, I dig it. And I like what both of them do. And for some reason, having the younger guy and the older guy, it reminds me of the mad scientist and his lackey.
Well, they're playing father and son.
Okay.
If I understand
father and
correctly,
son. Okay. Still, it kind of reminds me of I'm curious how they'll structure the episodes, because that makes me think of Mystery Science Theater, where you've got the characters that are sort of in the background always trying to hatch plans and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that, which it being for kids, I wonder if that's kind of the structure. You've got the Rita Repulsa and her crew up in the whatever doing their thing at the beginning and end of the episode. Then you've got the meat of the episode being their characters or whatever. I don't know. Just wondering how they'll structure it.
Yeah. But, my favorite news, though, is that Robert Beltran is coming back to Prodigy as Chakotay.
Ooh, I'm guessing.
Yeah. We don't know how, but he is working on it.
We don't know how, you said. So,
right.
Because we know Janeway is a projection or a hologram, right?
Yeah.
So I would guess he is too, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
But I don't know if I've mentioned it on this cast. I think I maybe have.
Mayhaps.
I've been rewatching Voyager.
Yeah. I heard you talk about this, but I don't think you mentioned it on the show.
Okay. Well, yeah. I am in season 2. I took a little break, not because the show was bad, just because the shows started coming. All the other shows started coming back, and I've just been kind of inundated with DC right now. But, yeah, man, I kind of want to do, I feel like I want to do a season by season review on this show. And I know you're not watching it, so I'll just do it by myself. But as much shit as I've talked about Voyager, I feel kind of bad because that season had there were some duds, but there were some episodes that I would classify as some of the best Star Trek that I can remember. So
yeah, my fault with Voyager was never that it didn't have interesting episodes. It was the lack of consistency and lack of overarching story that bothers me. And that's just something I look for in a show. But then again, I'm really enjoying the Orville right now. We're doing our Orville watch on Pandavision right now, and we actually haven't dropped the episodes yet, but we're about to be dropping season 2 of the Orville on Pandavision. And, it's very episodic for the most part. I mean, there's no overarching thing, but I love a good self-contained story. I think at the time when that show came out, and even still when I look back at that show, I want it to be more overarching than it is.
Yeah. And, you know, I am trying to go in as fresh as I can. I have not watched Voyager since first run.
Right.
So, and I am seeing more arc than I remembered.
Cool.
So I am very interested to get this underway and to really find out if I still feel the same way about Voyager, because
I hear you.
I'm enjoying it, man.
That's
I don't like Voyager. I really do.
I love it. I love that you're enjoying it. I have watched it since first run. I've watched it, I think, twice, actually. Maybe just once all the way through, and then some selected episodes. And, you know, I guess I am more fresh on it, and I did feel pretty similarly. Not that the show didn't have its merits, and like there are some characters I really like. Speaking of Tom Paris in this episode of Lower Decks, I enjoy Tom Paris a lot.
And he has one of the best character arcs in the show, as far as I'm concerned.
I think that's true. There's things that I really enjoy about the show. It's just what it is. I think is like it's trying to be TNG, because TNG doesn't have much growth either. And in that case, like, it's fine. It's like, okay, we accept that it doesn't have much growth on this show, and we just enjoy the episodic nature of TNG. But then it's like, I think of it as wildly inconsistent. Like with the way the characters are and the choices they make, and like the moral directive, and like some of that is in TNG as well. And that just comes, I think, with episodic television.
It's in DS9 to some small degree, but
it's everywhere. It bothers me because I feel like that show is more inconsistent than even TNG, which is before it. You know, that's where it bothers me. But I hear you.
Oh yeah, I'm really trying to get over, you know, my disappointments with Voyager and just be like, you know what, it is not. And it was never going to be exactly what you wanted it to be.
Right. Just enjoy it for what it is.
It's not going to be like 7 years of Year of Hell.
Right. That's all we wanted when we were like, 14. That's all we still want.
And God knows I haven't grown since 14.
I know. I agree.
Actually, I know. You know what? I actually disagree. I think I actually have. I am much less fan entitlement. I hate fan entitlement now, and I used to be nothing but fan entitled. So, anyway, lots of love on this episode of Lower Decks, though, for Voyager.
Yes, lots of Voyager love, or Voy love, as they would say.
I love that he shortened it to yes. And then for them to be like, wow, it is a lot easier. It does save a lot of time. And then for like Boimler to be walking through the halls with that damn plate, humming the Voyager theme song. I'm like, oh God, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really silly. Remind me, what is Fairhaven?
Oh, Fairhaven was like a town, like a 19th century town, I think, that Tom Paris created on the holodeck.
Okay,
or
that's
recreated on the holodeck.
I thought that was probably it, and so he says that was like Boimler's first thing, creator of Fairhaven, and I was like, I guess that's a thing that Boimler likes to visit on the holodeck. I don't know. It's funny to have that be his one of his big claims to fame.
Yeah.
I really like the line, I've got all the plates, from Janeway all the way down to Kim.
There's something really fun about the notion that in the Star Trek universe, they have collector plates for like the heroes of Starfleet. And they would.
Sure.
It seems silly. But like I have known people who had like George Washington collector plates. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Yeah, like I feel like Harry Kim is probably doing like gold investment commercials on Earth somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. He's doing basically what the Star Trek actors are doing now.
I hope not. God, I hope not. That poor guy.
Let's see. So, you know, there's a good bit going on in this episode. Nothing gets too deep. I guess the girls' trip storyline is kind of the main thing.
I thought that got kind of deep. Like,
yeah.
With Tendi and Mariner.
I guess what I mean by deep is that it gets, I don't feel like much happens in any particular one of them, because there's 4 different storylines. There's like the Shek's alive, the Boimler's not being recognized, the girls' trip. There was one other thing, and I guess Tom Paris, but that's kind of intersects with Boimler not being recognized.
Man, I would have loved to have seen more of Tom.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, you got him. He's there. He's voicing. Like, I feel like that actor would not mind doing like a full episode of things. Like, have him. You know,
he's trying to get. He and Garrett Wang are trying to get more Captain Proton stuff going.
Yeah. I've heard that, and I'd love to see them, go all in and do a full episode where Tom Paris is like actually doing things and not just making a Kazon joke, which is really all it was.
He did look like a Kazon.
Yeah, for sure. It's great, but I wanted more of Tom Paris. Like, I wanted Tom Paris to fly the ship and get them out of a scrape,
Yeah.
But I guess this is not that show, so I shouldn't expect that.
It's not that show.
No.
I mean, look, I'm honestly hoping to see Tom and B'Elanna over on Picard.
Yeah.
I don't know how possible that is. A lot of the fan base complains that Roxanne Dawson is a bit of a trumper. I don't know.
Oh, really?
And that's what they say. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. I don't want to know.
He's like, at some point, I want to keep enjoying watching her character.
Like, nope. I've always had a crush on her. Want to continue to have a crush on her. Let's just move on.
Oh, nothing will stop that quicker. Okay, let's.
I know it, man. It was like, I can't know yet. Just leave me be.
So let's talk about, before we get into the main storyline, so Shek's still alive? I was watching this and waiting to hear, like, this storyline is up Dave's alley. Like, this is...
Yes, it is.
Dave's gonna love the, like, dark spinning Dutch camera angles zooming in on Rutherford's face as Shex like tells the story of the spiritual battleground.
Yeah.
I just thought of you the whole time.
Like, I loved all of the references to the mirror universe and all the different ways that different people have come back.
Yes. All of which have happened in different episodes. I loved that.
The Shax as the Borg drone.
The Borg drone is a reference to freaking The Return, written by William Shatner. Like,
well, I think it is.
It is, right?
Well, I mean, unless they were referencing Picard, and
well, no, he wasn't brought back from the dead.
No, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I was like torn. I'm like, how deep are they getting?
They are getting it. Like, that is straight. They're saying, how do people come back from the dead?
Yeah.
And they straight up did, like, the thing that happened in Return. Those of you who don't know, William Shatner wrote a series of books where after...
Let's be fair. Judith and Garfield Reeve Stevens wrote those books.
Right. And they're wonderful.
Quite a bit.
They're wonderful, but William Shatner is written as the headline. And it's funny because, like, I think him writing them, and I bet he was involved in the conceptualizing of them, because, like, it's basically, the storyline is after Viridian 3, he falls off the bridge falls, he dies, and then Spock is mourning him, and then hears a transporter beam and climbs down to see what happened, and his body is gone. And then it turns out that the Borg have assimilated him. Mm-hmm. And then Picard has to fight a Borg version of Kirk, which is just like, why would the Borg need Kirk? I forget why, but like, I can't.
There was a reason.
There was a reason. But it's very like, let's take the thing that's cool about Star Trek in the 90s and like, I want Kirk to be that, and then like give him, I don't know, bring him back to life and make him kind of young again and powerful again, and it's just funny that William Shatner was writing all of that. And I love the books, don't get me wrong.
Again, I say he wasn't. I think he said, hey, I want to do a series of novels where Kirk comes back and he's in love with a person. And then they were like, okay, Judith, Garfield, come over here. Because those stories are so beautifully interwoven throughout the continuity of Star Trek and make so much narrative coherent sense.
Right.
And
Well, that's what ghostwriters do, though, right? Yeah, like,
dude,
he may have said, like, I want this to happen, I want that to happen, or like, I have these ideas, and they like spun it into a tale. But it also just felt like very fan servicey and you know.
I think he had a bunch of vague ideas, and Judith and Garfield Reeve-Stevens, who know the shit out of Star Trek, crafted a beautiful story. And look, I would say, there was a part of me that wanted to hang on to the hope that Shatner knew enough about Star Trek to kind of piece the plot together a little bit.
Right. No, probably
I've seen too many interviews with where he's like, I've never watched TNG.
Right. No. I've
never seen any of the other series.
I think it's more likely that Shatner came in with ideas like, I'm thinking like a middle-aged Kirk living on a farm with a young Romulan girl having passionate love, and they're like, we'll see what we can do, man. I don't know. And so they wrote a beautiful story that included that weird scenes of him having sex with a part Romulan girl.
She was Romulan Klingon. She was from the planet Chal. It was a short-lived peace between the Klingon and the Romulan people.
He's like, I'd like it to be a passionate, the more passionate enemy species. Like, I want him to get his in order to have real complex emotions about having sex with her. My enemy, now my lover. That's the kind of thing I bet he came in with, and they were like,
know how much money I would pay to be like, to just see that pitch meeting?
I would love it. I would love it so much.
Oh my lord. Oh, but look, if you haven't read that series, it is pretty fantastic.
It is.
I mean, they do like a whole mirror universe trilogy with some very touching moments with old Mirror Spock and freaking Emperor Tiberius coming back, and oh my god, there's some really cool stuff. I think it's like 9 books, something like that.
I actually think I only made it through the first 6, and then I just never read the last like trilogy. I keep meaning to. I downloaded them on Audible, and I just haven't made it through them yet.
Yeah, Captain's Blood, Captain's Peril, and Captain's Glory, I think.
Yeah.
Oh
man. So anyway, that being said, I am pretty certain that is a reference to that book, which is amazing.
I hope so. But my favorite was Shax emerging from the Dyson sphere. Like, because Scotty was found on the Dyson sphere in the transporter buffer.
Yeah.
And he was dressed as Neelix from Mortal Coil, and he was friggin'... Oh god, he was Moriarty from TNG. They did it right, man.
Yeah, that was really great.
That quote, like, I had to go back and like write down that quote where like Shax is talking to Rutherford, and he's like, "There's a reason we don't tell anyone how we come back. We're sparing you dark truths about scientific depravity that would haunt you for the rest of your days. Once you know, you can never go back to being the man you were before." And freaking Rutherford goes, "Works for me. Tell me." And Shax goes, "Okay, so death is the first thing that happens." And then, you do know about the Black Mountain, right? The what? The Black Mountain is a spiritual battleground your soul goes to where you have to fight 3 faceless apparitions of your father. The surviving father makes you eat your heart.
Oh man. Yeah, that's real weird. That's real weird.
And that is right up there with the koala bear. Why is he smiling? What does he know?
Why is he smiling? What does he know? Yeah, that was probably my favorite thing from season 1. Okay, so yeah, that was all wonderful, and I knew you'd love that.
Yes.
And I'm glad Shax is back. I liked Shax.
I did too.
And I like that he's Bajoran. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just liked having a Bajoran around.
Then you really need to read Captain's Blood, Captain.
Oh, does he make love to a Bajoran in that one?
Well, I'll only tell you this. It starts out with Picard and Kirk on Bajor.
Oh, neat. That's neat.
Yeah.
That's real neat. Okay. I have not read that one yet. I'll check it out. Speaking of DS9, we knew that Mariner had been on DS9 before, right?
Correct. She served sometime during Worf's tenure on the station. Yeah.
Yeah, I remembered her mentioning that in season 1, but it was nice to get another DS9 mention back in the old Lower Decks. But Worf left after the show, the run of the show, right? So after season 7. That's like the end of his tenure there, right?
He was going to be basically the leader of the Klingons. Like I think he defeated Galron or whatever, or maybe Martok did, and then Martok made him, but there was actually a deleted scene from Nemesis where someone brings that up, where I think Guinan brings it up and says, like, weren't you, leader of the High Council or something? And he goes, I am not a diplomat. And that was our explanation. He was just like, nope, screw this. I'm going back to Starfleet.
Except like their leaders are warriors, right? Like that's the thing is like their best leaders are not diplomats. And when they have diplomats and like politicians in charge, they always end up being deceptive and like end up in bad places.
Worf isn't going to run it that way. If he would want to be like Picard. So he's just like, nah, I can't do that shit.
Maybe. I think that's kind of fun. I actually just finally, I guess I should report on this here on the podcast too. I finally read the prequel book for Picard.
Oh, nice. I still haven't gotten to that.
Have you gotten through it?
I haven't gotten to it.
It's good, and they do mention that, at least in the time period that book is set, it's called Picard. Oh gosh, what's it? I don't even remember it's the first prequel book for the Picard series. There's like 4 Picard books now.
Right.
And I'm halfway through the second one, but, the first one is all about the operation to get the Romulans, transferred out of the space that's about to go supernova or whatever. And, but in that, Worf is the, captain of the Enterprise.
Okay, cool.
In that time period, apparently.
Dope.
Yeah, and it's a big thing. Like they use it talking to the Romulans. They're like, yeah, like I know we were enemies, but we were, deathly enemies with the Klingons, 100 years ago. But now our flagship is being flown by a Klingon captain.
Yeah. How? What are the chances? Do you think we'll make it through Picard without ever seeing the Enterprise? I feel like we've got to.
The Enterprise, is it Enterprise E the one, or like what Enterprise exists at this point? We don't even know, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting.
I can't remember. Like, I know they did a prequel comic.
Yeah, for Picard? Yeah, I read that.
No. For the, one of the Abrams movies, I think it was the first one.
Oh, that's right. There was like an Enterprise F or something like that, or J, maybe.
But in that version, B4 was the captain, and he was Captain Data. He had regained the memories,
right?
So
and that does not seem like it ever happened. Yeah. Even though it's being written by the same people, apparently.
It's written by Kurtzman.
Yeah.
Kurtzman and Orsi wrote that.
Interesting. So. Maybe he was Captain Data for like a week. Maybe that's just like an episode. You know what I mean? Like,
oh gosh.
It just happened to be when we dropped in, he was Captain Data, and they were like, no way, you're lore. And then they kicked him off.
Hey everybody, it's a multiverse.
That's, you keep saying that. You keep saying that.
It's true.
Okay,
parallels, man. Parallels.
We're spinning out all kinds of things, which I'm loving, but let's get to the core of this episode of Lower Decks. Episode 3?
Yeah.
Tendi and Mariner go on a little journey together. What'd you think of their girls' trip?
I really enjoyed it. Like, I was in Mariner's camp where I was just like, wait, how do you not? You guys really haven't spent any time together? What are you talking about? Like,
yeah,
it was like I had not noticed that. Like, it was, but they were totally right. It is always Tendi and Rutherford, and
for sure,
Mariner and Boimler, and I am happy that someone finally called it out. That is like, I don't know, you're always with
Well, and I love
Boimler, and
the meta nature of that comment where she's like, that seems like a glaring omission. It's the what's the Bechdel test where two women have a conversation that doesn't involve a man off camera,
right.
and then I feel like that was a direct call out to that sort of a thing. That the two female characters of the show haven't had their own episode, or even really been alone.
Right.
And then I just thought it was almost like wink at camera. This seems like a glaring omission.
Yeah, that was fun.
I liked it a lot. I liked the very beginning of the whole thing when Tendi's trying to put in the time to get to work. She's just like, I got that gig because someone got a syndrome, and she's like, I can't rely on people getting syndromes. And then Mariner comes running up to the table where her and Rutherford are sitting, and she says, "We doing sci-fi stuff today?"
Yeah.
Which I think Mariner said something very similar before.
No, that was in the trailer for this season.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It was in every trailer for this season.
Gotcha. I'd forgotten where I'd heard it before, but I just had it internalized that I've definitely heard Mariner say that before.
Yeah. Now, they did do a great callback to Tendi once again, objecting to the fact that people see Orions as pirates and whatever.
Yes.
Thieves and pirates. And then she's like, anyway, my cousin is on this thieves den on a pirate planet.
Yep.
Or whatever it was.
Well, as long as you're not worried about the optics of that, I guess I'm okay with it. And then my favorite thing about that whole thieves and pirates thing was Mariner trying to fit in and acting like an Earth pirate, arg, hello, Orion friend.
But that was
so stupid.
That Tendi line was totally a callback to season 1, where she was like, not all Orions are thieves and pirates, except for the ones that are thieves and pirates. But it's just this is good stuff. I want to know more about her past, though, for sure. Now they're talking about whatever they were calling her,
Mistress of the Winter Constellations.
That's it.
Yeah, Mistress of the Winter Constellation, and then I think it's Davana or Tavana. I couldn't tell.
Davana.
Yeah.
Which, that has been her first name.
Okay. I did not. I like Mariner, did not know that.
Right. I knew it because I'm addicted to Memory Alpha, but
right. I love that about you, bud. I do.
When I'm dead, it won't matter.
What's that? We also got a big confirmation. I think this is big world building confirmation in this episode that we hadn't had before.
Oh, what's that?
Quarks is franchised.
Well, we knew that from Picard.
No, we knew there was another Quarks, but that could have been Quark. We discussed it at the time. We're like, maybe Quark is here or whatever, right? And or maybe it's a franchise thing, but this proves it's franchised because it's all over. Does it? Because
I don't know. Did we? I don't remember what the planet was they went to.
On Picard, I don't think it was Quaylor, which is what it was here. I was trying to look. Stardust City was where they were, right? Stardust City Rags in that episode. I was trying to look up the name.
Yeah, but Stardust City could have been a place on Quaylor.
It could have been. Yeah, I was trying to look for that.
Though I did pause it and I didn't see Mr. Mott's salon, so.
Right.
I think you might be right.
I just thought that was neat. That I don't see a name of the planet on my cursory goog here.
Cursory goog. What happened to you, man? I'm just kidding. You've always been a douche. Anyway.
True words, man.
Hashtag truth, buddy.
Oh, man. So yeah, let's see. We got a mention of Klingon acid punk.
Loved it.
I liked it a lot.
And from what I hear on Twitter, they actually got the guy that, I can't remember his name now, because, so much for me being addicted to Memory Alpha, I can't remember anything. They actually, they on the pads that had all the Klingon acid punk.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had like real Klingon on there that was like saying what those tracks were about.
Nice. That's awesome.
But it was, from the dude who created the language.
That's awesome. I like started learning Klingon on one of those like language learning apps.
Oh Lord. What can be gained?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing, which is why I didn't stick with it. Same reason I didn't stick with French.
Nothing can be gained.
Oh man.
Oh God.
And then, of course, the nice resolution to this little storyline, Mariner grabs Tendy's friends. We may have started this trip as coworkers, but now we're friends. Computer ramming speed. And then it just bounces in the cutest little way.
Yeah.
As Mariner yells, friendship!
Such a weird, reckless response.
It's pretty great.
Mark Okrand. That's the guy that developed the Klingon language.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was like, is that a Klingon word?
It does sound like it.
It does. Mark Okrand. And then probably my favorite, I feel like a lot of my favorite lines of this show are just Mariner yelling things, in a serious situation, yelling something really ridiculous. And, I really liked, send the bee to the brig.
Yes. Like, how is there a bee in the shuttlecraft in space?
She's just so petulant. I just really like, I like Mariner a lot.
So did you guess that the doctor only needed the box?
No, I guess I didn't. But I'm not a cat owner. But I do know that now as a cat trope. Yeah,
it was one of those where I was just like, I've seen this joke before. I'm pretty sure she just needs the box because you remember Almost Heroes with Chris Farley, and she was like, I need the egg of an eagle, and then he like climbs up the friggin'
right,
like
he just
the
needs
tree
the shell or something.
He keeps eating the egg and like risking life and limb to get the another egg, and then he finally gets it and traverses the terrain back up the mountain, and she just cracks it open, and so I just needed the shell. Yeah, Almost Heroes, guys. Matthew Perry, Chris Farley.
Good flick.
Yeah, Eugene Levy. Shit, yeah, I want to watch that now.
Nice.
It's a good one.
You should go do that. Because I think that's about we've wrapped up talking about that last storyline. Good episode, fun. It went down easy.
Did it? Did it go down easy, man?
Yeah, man, it did. If nothing else, Lower Decks goes down easy.
Like a fried eagle egg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And if they maintain that this is canon, they're doing some real world building for sure with all this, smiling koalas and black mountains and
Well, yeah. I was actually, that's the thing I was wondering about, like that whole Black Mountain thing. I was like, that's not canon, right? Like that's not what all the bridge crew don't tell to the ensigns, right? Like that seems real weird and silly.
Yeah, it does seem real weird and silly.
I just assume it's something Shex went through that he like isn't telling. Maybe he's just universalizing it.
Well, I mean, it would make sense. This is going to get way too serious, but it may be different for every species. Like their soul may go to a different spiritual battleground.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that.
Like horrible.
I was thinking about that with Shex because he's being Bajoran. I was like, oh, is this a Bajoran thing? Or is this just like an omnicultural thing? I don't know. I don't know what this is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. By the way, StarTrek.com celebrated this as the 800th episode of Star Trek.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. It's wild.
Yeah. Man. I mean, hey.
And they're going to be making lots more. coming up.
It certainly would appear that is the case.
I got 3 on the air now. I know they got like 2 or 3 more that are supposed to be coming. Mm-hmm. Prodigy looks pretty much like it's happening for sure.
Right. Well, apparently StarTrek.com doesn't know that Discovery got canceled midway through its first season, and Alex Kurtzman has been fired. And
right. They're not. They're just not keeping up on it.
Paramount Plus is no longer a thing, and because it should have always been network TV, and all the things that the YouTubers say.
Yeah. Well. Some right, some wrong. But overall, I'm enjoying this era of Trek, my friend. And just getting Trek every week to talk about. Super fun.
Yep. I am enjoying it. I have begun, or not begun, but resumed my Star Trek novel collecting again. Yeah, I'm still working through my list of novels to get that I haven't purchased yet. So I got about 10 this week.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
You're a
second to Charles, man. Second to Charles.
Cool.
They know me when I walk in. They're like, "God, is that Star Trek guy?" Yeah, we know where he's going.
He's going to aisle 16, section A.
Well, first he'll go over and check out the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures, but if he can't find Batman with the goggles up from Justice League, he's going right over to the sci-fi section and pulling up his Google Drive, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right, dude.
I know how to live.
Yeah. It's clearly, you've got... That just screams life to me. That's nothing screams has a life more than going to Second and Charles every couple days with a Google Drive open.
Right.
Nothing,
dude. Yeah, I'm married. I've got 3 podcasts. You've got like 57 podcasts. I mean, what do you want?
American dream. I'm married, 3.5 podcasts,
3.5 podcasts. I have at least 3 separate interests that I feel like the world needs to know what my opinions are on.
It really is. It's like the new American dream. No longer is it the kids, just the podcast. Birth rates are down, but content, man.
Content's a poppin'.
Content is king, buddy. Good stuff. I'm going to Dragon Con this week.
Ooh, why?
I'm actually, weirdly, they gave us press passes. So I'm going as press. But I want to go for fun, but I got to go for free because the podcasts, and they're letting me go, and I just have to report on it, kind of. So we're gonna do a couple MCU cast episodes where I talk about some of the content we get there, and then I'm also I'll try to do some Star Trek panels too if I get a chance, and see if I can report back anything the actors or directors or whatever say.
Did you have to apply or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody in the network, she applied for all of us basically, and just tried to get us all press passes, and they offered them to the 4 that she applied for. They offered them all to us. 3 people didn't go, so it's just me going.
Yeah. Well, I know. Yeah, a lot of their big guests have bowed out because of COVID. Delta and COVID.
Yeah, for sure. And as press, on a normal year as press, they do all this coordination so you can do interviews and stuff with people. This year they're just not doing that. So it's basically just, I think there's chances, there's certain opportunities to try to catch certain people to interview them, but it's mostly just going to be I'm going to go to all the panels and listen to the different, people. It's weird though cause I'm sitting here writing interview questions and stuff in case I see people and stuff, and it's I don't know, you know this probably, but back in back in my high school days, like I was a editor of a school newspaper and like had some desires to be a writer / journalist.
Yeah.
And I eventually gave that up for music. And, but it's just funny that like podcasting has brought me back around, and I'm like sitting there using my old like school newspaper skills to like write out interview questions and stuff. Like I haven't done it in 20 years, but like suddenly I'm sitting here thinking about how to interview, like how I'm going to put together a field piece and stuff.
Yeah.
It's real weird. I got a camera gimbal for my phone that like, so I can do some interviews, and I got a recorder thing where I can like hand people a handheld mic and interview them, and I'll have a little lapel mic at the same time and be recording both audios at the same time. So I'll be able to do kind of podcasting too at the same time. So
Gimbal sounds like the name of, someone who wanted to be a journalist but wound up hosting a morning show, like I'm Chaz Gimbal.
Yeah. Well, what's like a Gumble? Gumble?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bryant Gumble?
Bryant? Is it Bryant? I don't know.
I don't know. What was I going to, I know a guy who knows people who are in charge of Dragon Con, and they apparently, like, he was just telling me that they've lost so many guests. He was like, how many do you even have? And they was just like, not enough. Like it is in dire straits over there.
Yeah,
so.
I don't doubt it. I have a feeling it's going to be more of just like a big hang fest, which is cool. I like
maybe.
I like a good hang fest.
Don't, a lot of breakthrough cases. I know you're vaccinated, but
yeah, if I wasn't vaccinated, I wouldn't be going for sure. But like, they get breakthrough cases, but like 99.9% of the hospitalizations are with unvaccinated people. So you can get it, but it's very, very rare if you have the vaccine that you'll get sick, according to the most recent data I've seen. So if it were worse than that, I probably wouldn't be going. But I'm
vaccinated, but I'm like, I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm not scared for me. I'm scared for people that aren't vaccinated, including children and stuff. Like I'm worried for that. More than and they are enforcing like strict masking, and
well, that's good.
But it's still, you're going to be in a hotel with thousands of people. Like it's not going to be, it's not going to be great. But I'm just going to try to go to some panels, sit in the back, listen to some people talk about the shows and movies I like, and hang out with some friends that are going. My buddy got a hotel room there, and he's letting me crash in his hotel room for free. So
cool.
Yeah,
well,
I'm pumped.
Best of luck to you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
I don't know. I feel like you're going off to war.
Well, I'll see if I can get some Star Trek content and like bring it back to the show and report on what they're saying live. I feel like that's the kind of thing where sometimes they'll say things in those like panels that you're like, oh, well, that like it's not so much the news they talk about. Sometimes when I just hear them talk at the panels, I get a better sense of like the tone of a thing or like the way they're thinking about a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's always interesting to me. So I'll see what I can gander over there.
Yeah, man.
But then again, like you said, may just be nobody there this year.
See what you can gander. Don't be surprised if you get goosed.
Let's hope, man. You always go to these con hoping to get a little goosing.
Yeah. But you probably shouldn't walk around like you do with your ass cheeks spread apart. That's weird, man. Nobody likes that.
Gross.
I told you for years. Stop doing that. That's so weird.
It's just how I stand.
With both of your hands inside of your ass cheeks, pulling them apart. It's for leverage.
Yeah.
Who are you, powdered toast man?
I was about to say this is like taking a real Ren and Stimpy turn.
Oh God!
This episode, so I think we're done.
And then I directly mentioned a character from Ren and Stimpy.
Yep, I was literally about to say that, and then you came out with a Ren and Stimpy character. I was like, all right, I guess I was right. Let's. I think
my comedic sensibilities are unfortunately greatly inspired by Conan O'Brien and Ren and Stimpy.
Yep, you're the nexus between Conan O'Brien, Ren and Stimpy, and news radio. Like that's like your. That's 90% of your speech patterns.
And then just Norm Macdonald.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of Norm Macdonald sauce on it. Anyway, I love you, Dave. Good chatting with you.
I love you too, man.
You guys be
I
safe
feel like that's
this
an
week.
insult somehow, but
No, yeah, be safe this weekend. You guys get vaccinated, so we don't have to worry about spreading it to unvaccinated people.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
it's just all, man, it just all sucks. All right, It just all sucks. All the things, all this COVID madness,
But
just sucks.
Not Star Trek Lower Decks.
No, that was wonderful.
Oh, by the way, you know what sucks? For our review on 202, I had it on private all week. So it dropped about 5-10 minutes before we started recording this episode.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed that episode. It would have been out a week ago, but that's funny. Sorry about that, guys.
I feel like a dumbass. It happens occasionally.
It happens.
I don't get notifications on my phone as much as I should, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I saw that someone was like, hey, by the way, this isn't working on Tumblr. I was like, what's going on? And then Bethany, my wife, was like, by the way, you're, because I was like, oh yeah, we're about to record. She's like, yeah, last week's never showed up. I was like, oh yeah, shit. Let me check that. So I apologize. You have 2 episodes this week though, so
yeah, there you go.
It's double trouble.
Silver linings all day.
I'm so sorry. That's my fault.
Dude, it's all good. No
hope I die.
No.
I shall climb the Black Mountain.
I shall endeavor to fight the 3 fathers. Joan True.
Live long and prosper.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.